Ladies and gentlemen, I learned a long time ago that if you want to run the cooling fans on your vehicle with a toggle switch, you don't want to run the power for those cooling fans through the switch. The ground's a little bit safer, but it's just as hard on the switch. I also learned that if you run the wire across your dash, around your door seal, and then underneath the hood, eventually closing the door on the wire does break it. And if you don't have a fuse, you could have a fire, or your battery could explode, or both. At least that's the way it was for my 92 Saturn SL2. May it rest in peace. Anyway, you want to use fuses and you want to use a relay for your cooling fan. I'm not wiring up a vehicle right now, I'm working on a gasifier, but the premise remains the same. Now this here is the standalone cooler I built so I can demonstrate my gasifier. It's pretty simple, it just has these two cooling fans right here and this 12 volt pump right there. All of it's DC, but these fans right here are going to run 30 amp. That's a lot to put through a switch, so I'm going to use a relay here. All we need is a power here and a ground here on both of these wires. Now this right here is a relay harness I just bought from the local parts store, and it came with this information right here. From what I gather, I want to hook my toggle switch to this blue wire right here. I want to hook the power from the battery to this red wire right there, and I want to hook power to my fan to this green wire right there, and I want to ground this yellow one. Or at least that's what that says. And then we just plug a relay into it like such. I've got two of these kits, one for each of the fans. Okay, I guess I was a bit confused. Apparently the green wire's for the switch, the red wire and the orange wire are continuous power, the blue wire's the ground, and the yellow wire's for the cooling fan. Some of us can't be taught by a piece of paper, even if it's a citation, sadly. But we're back on track. And somehow all of that translates into this rat's nest I have going on here. Yellow wire for our cooling fans, this is the switch to turn on my high speed. Now my low speed is the other one. Just like that right there. Now these relay harnesses are meant to go to a chassis ground. This doesn't have a chassis, so I have to run grounds from the battery. That's these two right there. They're yellow too, but they're much smaller. That's okay, I'll figure it out. So let's attach this mess to the coolers. It won't look this bad once it's on. Okay, I lied, it looks just as bad, but it's nothing a little harness tape can't fix. I'm going to have to mount something here so I can attach my switches, and I need to go to the hardware store tomorrow and get some battery connectors for my power and ground wires to the battery. As you can see, I just used blade connectors with the existing harness right here, just in case I want to use these cooling fans for the right thing in the future. But that's about what we're going for. For now, I'm just going to clamp these on however I can, just to make sure everything runs. Okay, everything's hooked up. Flip the switch on. And nothing. What the poop? I've got 12 volts going in. I've got a good battery ground. They're not working. My cooling fans don't work, ladies and gentlemen. That really sucks. If you truly knew the entire story behind these cooling fans, you would understand why that sucks so bad. It turns out I don't actually know everything, but I did fix a wire chafing issue that made the cooling fans run on the truck that these cooling fans came from. So it did have bad wires, I promise. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've been looking at this way too long, and it's very late at night. At least my little vacuum pump runs. I guess tomorrow I'll chase down another set of cooling fans and we'll try this all over.